Hi everyone, Alicia here. Just popping on to explain that I originally made this video for my clients for the Radical Freedom Tribe, but then I decided, because I want this movement to reach as many people as possible, actually, I'm going to share this information with the rest of the world too, because this stuff is big. And I want you to have it, even if you haven't signed up to work with me. But of course, if you do want to join this radical freedom movement, I'll put a link down below because you are invited and so welcome to join this revolution. So enjoy the video. Thanks for being here. Hello, welcome. I am so happy you're here. This introduction is going to make sure you're ready to move forward along your transformational journey into radical freedom in the most powerful way. So this is super important, so please watch until the end before you move on into any of the next sessions. Today I'm going to take you through some education and codes to get you ready, to make sure all aspects of you understand this work, how it works, and why it works. So I'm going to take you through why our work is different, why you've failed before in the past, and we'll touch on how your work with me is going to actually go. So I take you through this out of respect to ensure that all aspects of you understand how this work is going to help you. Now, my work has brought in and built upon the work of my incredible mentors, combining and bringing together work from different masters, gurus, shamans, teachers, ancient teachings, all to truly understand, how does one create success? Success meaning being able to manifest anything you want in this dimension. So it could be anything. It could be health, happiness, money, relationships, impact. And with this work, we have created huge transformations, what people call miracles. So to name just a few, 2 people now have regained their sight after being legally blind. We've had multiple cases where we have evidence of tumors being there in their body, and then they have what people call a spontaneous recovery or miracle healing, where basically they no longer have cancer. Multiple people have recovered from diabetes, no longer needing to take insulin. People have started making massive amounts of money. Relationships have been created. Teenagers getting off drugs. Anything you can imagine, it's all possible with this work. So I hope you're as excited as I am that you are here. So what's different about this work? Well, I'm giving you the power. This is really about you stepping back into your own inherent power. Almost all of the coaching and therapy out there puts the clients in a powerless position. They're there to be fixed by someone else, or to be saved or helped or cured or healed by someone else. And what society teaches us, and the way 99% of the world operates, it puts us in a powerless position, because we structure our life in a way that will never allow us to have what we truly want, which is not a reflection of our truth. You see, we are actually the powerful creators of our reality. So most people want to create body transformations or health or finances or relationships, but they're so busy observing that which they don't want that their focus is in entirely the wrong place, which is important because our focus creates our reality in a very literal sense. And I've written an article published in Brains magazine on this, which I will link down below if you want to read more on that. But let me explain how this way that we're taught and programmed to look at life actually holds us away from everything we desire. So we each know that we have our own current reality, right? Our life as it is right now. So whatever that be regarding the state of our health, wealth, happiness, satisfaction, everything. And most often people go, okay, I don't want this, or I don't like this about my life, or yeah, it's just not enough. And we'll tend to go, if only I had this life instead. Yeah, I wish I had this and this and that. Yeah, all of that, that's my desired reality. The life I wish I had. That would be so much better. And this all makes sense, right? I want this reality that I'm in to move to that reality that I want, right? Because I don't want this, but I do want this. The difficulty comes from the fact that you have an identity in the current reality. We all have an identity all of the time. It's simply how our mind understands who we are and how we can navigate life. Now, in this structure, your identity has actually lived most of your life saying the current reality is not good enough. It wants better. And it communicates this in feelings because the identity is the domain of the subconscious mind. That's why we don't always necessarily know a lot about what's in our identity because it's not conscious to us, it's subconscious. So let's say the identity feels perhaps scarcity, loneliness, perhaps it feels ill health, a sense of pointlessness or emptiness. So you say, instead of that, I want to have an abundance of money. I want to feel loved. I want great health. I want to feel fulfilled and purposeful, which all sounds great and logical. But you label this dream reality as better. Now, what happens when you label one thing as better? You're labeling the other thing as worse. So you define the current reality as worse. And the current reality includes your current identity. So you identify as someone who is worse than you want to be. You want to be better. And you hear people say this all the time. But this means that right now, you're not as good as you desire. You're not good enough, or not enough in some way. So you become a person who's not as good as the kind of person who has what you really want in life. And your identity has lived this way for a very long time. So as soon as you take action to move towards your desired reality, right, to make things happen, to achieve those goals, the identity throws up a fear response and tries to stop you because it's essentially about to not be needed anymore, right? If you were to actually get what you want, you would no longer be that identity that says, what I have is not enough, because you'd actually have all the things you say would be enough. So its entire way of being would no longer be valid. It would no longer be true, right? If we were to achieve the abundance, the love, the health, the better reality, the way that you've always been would change. The old identity would literally no longer exist because you wouldn't be in scarcity. You wouldn't be in loneliness or in illness. You'd be in the identity of the new reality: abundance, love, health, fulfillment. So you'd suddenly be great enough, sufficient enough to have all of that. But that's not who you are. Your identity says, well, we can't have that. That's not us. We're over here. We're not enough. It's a completely different and opposing identity to that which you say you want. So once you do step across to the new one, well, what would happen to the old one? It disappears. It dies. And your identity does not want to die. So your identity essentially gets scared of this new reality, and it will do anything it can to stop you from changing so that you keep things the same and it just stays true and alive. So it throws up thoughts and feelings that take us off track, like doubt, overwhelm, fear, thoughts like, I don't think I'm ready. I don't know enough yet. I need to study some more. Or I've never done this before. I don't think I can do it. Or, you know what? Actually, I have too many other things going on in life. I just can't go for that right now. Because the current identity knows that these feelings need to be resolved. You're going to want to resolve them. So it's going to take your attention and focus. So we get taken off track. We get distracted by these thoughts and feelings. And we go over here to try and fix and heal and overcome these ways in which we don't feel able to actually have the desired reality. Right? We try to heal our sense of unworthiness or fix our overwhelm by taking a break. We try and overcome our fear of rejection by using affirmations and studying gurus. We try to fix our fear of success or fear of failure, or we try to solve the situation that's distracted us. So we go over here to resolve all this crap that our identity has thrown up at us. And we resolve stuff. We fix stuff, we heal stuff, and it feels good. We feel good. But guess what? While we were off resolving these issues, we didn't create anything. We didn't actually move our current reality any closer to the desired reality. We're still actually in the exact same place. And this structure is the number one reason why people fail and never reach the life they truly want. See, your identity is living in opposition to that which you desire, and it will refuse to let you change things because it doesn't want to die. So you end up in this never-ending loop where you go for what you want, and then something stops you, which is actually yourself stopping you or finding reasons to stop. And you end up realizing, oh, I'm still in the current reality. I still want to change because you've still gotten nowhere. And you keep going through this cycle. I'm trying to move towards my desired reality. Oh, I don't get there because I need to go and do something else. Oh, I'm back where I started. You've trapped yourself. People get stuck in this lifetime. People get stuck in this cycle for a lifetime, never able to escape because they've never been taught this. People spend years learning, going to seminars, listening to personal development icons, and they do all the right things, right? They meditate, they change their diet, they get coaches, they do the workshops, they do all the right things. And then they ask, why do I still not have the life I want? It's because of this. You will never see a successful result when you are in this structure. This is the problem-solving structure, where your current reality is less than or not as good as the desired reality. See, because the current identity does not equal the desired identity. So your current identity will never let you have that reality. So we must be it to see it. We must be in the correct identity that aligns to the reality we want to live. That's what I mean by being it before you see it. You make these identities equal because everything is created twice. First in the invisible, then in the visible. So you create within, and that is what creates without. You must change your internal experience in order to change your external reality. It's not the other way around. That's a very common mistake because your identity will not allow you to have anything that doesn't align to it. So you'll either never get there, or if you do get that thing that you say you want, you're not able to accept it internally. You're not able to actually fully have the experience you wanted because your identity won't allow you to have that experience because it doesn't align to it. That's why people who have grown up poor and then win the lottery lose all the money incredibly quickly. They spend it all or give it away rapidly There's countless examples of this. Or you see people who are rich and they still don't feel they have enough, still never satisfied, still stingy with money. See, they're not allowed to have the inner experience of abundance because that's just not their identity. So you must become a person who is satisfied no matter what the external reality is. Able to enter any circumstance as the identity of someone who has it all already. This is critical, and it's simple, but it is not easy to begin with. Because yes, this means that you must feel as happy being sick as you would be in health. Because you are the creator, and your outer reality will always align to your inner reality. You cannot plant seeds of scarcity and grow an abundance forest, right? An apple seed creates an apple tree. You're not going to get oranges. The same applies to us. It's your internal state that must change first. You become it, that which you want, in the invisible, in the code that your consciousness is running, like all the invisible instructions held within that seed. Then you take action, like planting the seed, watering it. Then you finally have your desired reality, the fully grown tree that actually creates more seeds and keeps expanding into a full forest, right? So you must stop giving power to external circumstances, because whatever you give power to traps you. You must realize that your current circumstances do not have power over you. You may give it power and then allow that to make you feel helpless and powerless, but the power actually originates from you. You're just choosing to assume the victim perspective, which is an okay choice, but simply not the truth. So you must allow your power to return to you, to step back into your own power to create and become the person who has it all now. Then you are able to create and receive anything and everything you desire. Then you get to a place where you're no longer going for goals because you think it will change you, because they won't. You're actually just choosing which reality you fancy and then simply creating it, knowing that it won't change you because you're already living in the identity of the powerful creator who has it all now. That way, it's easy to change your life. Literally easy, because your identity is no longer resisting the change. For that reason, in this work, we don't have goals, we have choices. We call them choices because we're just choosing what we want. Like off a menu, I can have any of it. It won't change me. Right now, I fancy this choice. So the work we're going to do together is going to allow you to shift your identity, to be it now, removing any resistance to your dream life, and then following through and manifesting it in physical reality. And I don't just work with your thinking mind or just with the subconscious mind. I work with all three levels of mind, 100% of your consciousness, so that you can rapidly shift your identity completely. Literally shift yourself into the reality you want, so that it's easy to just take the correct action to allow it to show up externally in your life. And with my method, we literally rewire your mind, recode the brain, reset your neurology, shift your consciousness to let go of all the stuff that's been holding you back, right? Like shifting out of overthinking and anxiety into ultimate confidence, for example, shifting out of depression into joy and fulfillment, out of scarcity into abundance, out of dis-ease into health and vitality. I myself have shifted out of eating disorders, body dysmorphia, OCD, depression, addiction, into radical freedom. And I will teach you to be in and to stay in the one and only structure to create anything and everything you desire with ease, flow, courage, and confidence, right? No more struggle, no more self-sabotage, no more feeling stuck. Now, you might be wondering, what's structure? I keep using this word, so let me explain it. A structure is anything with two or more points working together, okay? Multiple points in relationship to each other. So my body is a structure. There are multiple points of information working together. And when I hold up this pen, now I'm in a structure with it. If I put it down and it's separate from me, I'm no longer in a relationship or in a structure with it. Now, the structure of something determines its behavior because it determines the flow of energy. Okay, energy always takes the path of least resistance. So depending on the structure, it will flow a certain way, thereby creating certain outcomes or behaviors. For example, a rocking chair will rock or swing like a pendulum. It can't do anything else. It won't start moving across the room when you push it because the structure won't allow it. Structure has integrity, so the behavior always aligns to the structure. So unless you rearrange and fully transform the structure itself, which we can do even using the same materials, right? We could take that wood from the rocking chair and turn it into a little raft, right? So now it won't rock back and forth. Instead, it will move across water. Or you could take that wood and turn it into a fence. So now it won't rock, it won't move forward, it will just stay still, even when you push it, right? It can't do anything else because structure has integrity. Unless you transform the structure, it will always create the same output, the same behavior. So essentially, whenever you input energy, it will always flow in alignment with whatever the structure is. So the outcome is always dependent on the structure. Now, this is important because it's the same with our life. How we structure our reality and our identity determines whether or not we will flow towards what we want or oscillate like the rocking chair, making progress, swinging back, going forward, going back, or whether we get completely stuck like the fence, just not going anywhere. Because we have two or more points in relationship to each other, i.e. a structure. We have the current reality, we have the current identity, we have the desired reality, we have the desired identity. And remember, scientifically speaking, you are an energy, we are all energy, and energy always takes the path of least resistance. So the outcome of the structure you're in is your behavior. And your behavior creates your results, and results create your reality. So that is why the way that you are living and looking at your life, the structure that you're in, literally determines your reality. And that is why I am here to get you into the correct structure, the creative structure. So the current reality and desired reality may be exactly the same as it was before when you were problem solving, right? Still the same life you have, you still want the same things. But your current identity equals the desired future identity. So you already have it now internally. You feel as though you already have everything you want, and you're just choosing to create things that you love for no other reason, okay? Just choosing them because you love them, not trying to fix or improve or solve anything. That would be the old problem-solving structure. We're in the creative structure, just creating what you truly love, so that you, as a creative energy, will just flow all the way to your desired end result. No oscillating, no getting stuck, just flowing. Now, like I said, I work in depth with all 3 levels of consciousness. So now let me introduce you to the workings and different levels of your mind, right? Because this, along with the next little short video, is going to train your own superconscious to recode itself so that you can shift your consciousness, including removing any resistance you have to your desired end results, the desired reality. See, resistance is the opposing force to the flow of energy, okay? And we can create blocks, beliefs and rules. We can hold on to trauma and all sorts of things in our consciousness that create resistance to our desires, i.e., it holds us back from achieving or having them. So resistance is the opposing force that your identity created in order to stop you going for things that are in opposition to that identity, right? Things that are not aligned to the identity, things that don't match it. So we are the creators of our own resistance. And it's really a bit like the story of the little baby elephant that was tied up to a pole. And it pulled and it pulled, but it wasn't strong enough. It wasn't able as a baby to move beyond that rope. It was stuck. So eventually it gave up. It started to believe that it wasn't possible to walk away from that pole, wasn't able to. And then, it grows up to be a big, powerful adult elephant. But whenever the owner ties it back up to that same small pole with the tiny little rope around its ankle, the elephant doesn't pull. It doesn't even try to walk away. It learned a long time ago that it doesn't work. It believes it's not possible. And it's the same with humans. Things we learned a long time ago aren't necessarily true anymore, but we're holding on to these beliefs and ideas that perhaps are not serving us. And they may never have been true in the first place. Sometimes we create beliefs, often we create beliefs that aren't actually true, but we create them. And if we hold on to them and they are in opposition or in conflict to what we want, well, now they're resistance. Now, we can hold on to resistance in any and every level of consciousness. We have 3 different aspects of self, 3 different memory systems. Each level of consciousness has its own set of memories. So we have the self-conscious, the thinking mind. We have the subconscious, or you may call it the unconscious. And we have the superconscious. Now, some scientists refer to this as the quantum field or 0-point field. Carl Jung referred to it as the collective unconscious. But I call it the superconscious because it's a higher level of mind. And super means above, so higher level of mind, superconscious. Now, the self-conscious is the thinking mind. It's the mind in which we experience being an individual human. Okay, it sees itself as separate and limited. It likes to define and compartmentalize things and understands polarity. So, in order to have hot, there must be cold. This is male, this is female. This is good, this is bad. This is happy, this is sad, right? The self-conscious will have decided on certain circumstances that would be a good life. And also what would be bad, right? So it seeks quality of life. Now, most people try to make things happen or try to create change with their self-conscious mind, and this simply doesn't work because this level of mind sees things as limited and defines and puts things into rule structures, right? I don't want this, I do want this. So it's always that structure whereby it creates oscillation, a pendulum swing. It also just has far less power than our other levels of mind. So, for example, the subconscious mind, this is the feeling mind. This is what really drives the majority of our behavior. Now, it communicates through your feelings. That's why it drives your actions, because most of our actions and decisions are actually emotionally driven, not logically driven. We may look back and justify things with logic, but when we take action, it's always actually driven by emotions. Now, the subconscious just takes instructions and is there to run your body. And it only wants for you to stay alive for as long as possible. It wants quantity of life, years on this planet. And it ensures you survive by trying to keep you safe. But the subconscious knows nothing other than what you have personally, internally experienced. So the only way it knows how to keep you safe is simply by sticking to things that you've already experienced in the past. Because you survived it once, obviously, because you're still alive. So therefore, you can survive it again. That's how it thinks. So even if that circumstance is painful, like anxiety, the subconscious will choose that over something which you've never experienced before, like maybe self-worth and self-assurance. See, anything new is threatening to the subconscious. It sees it as a risk, potentially risky to your survival, which is all it cares about. Now, the third aspect of us is a level of mind that very few people work with. Most people don't even yet realize it exists. Although, if you're watching this a while in the future, maybe, hopefully, it's become more common knowledge. But this is the superconscious field. This is an aspect of us that is connected to everything, okay? It knows it's not separate. And this is an information field. So it's the source field where everything is coming from. So on this planet, there are certain rule structures that everything behaves within. So for example, the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, how physical matter operates. And that's information in the form of intelligence. So it's the intelligence that is the instructions that tell your body, for example, how to develop, how to grow, how to function. So this level of instruction is how a single cell became a fetus, etc. It's also how, birds fly together and they seem to be moving as one. Like we say that like they're on the same wavelength. They know the next movement to make it with no obvious communication. It's because they're all tapped into the same field of information. Now, this field of information has no time or space limitation. Okay, there's no future to the superconscious. All time is collapsed, type of thing. So that's why some call it the 0-point field. Now, it's also the source of our intuition. Okay, it's how we receive insights, seemingly from nowhere, if you don't understand where it's coming from. Now, we're all in one field, one superconscious field. But if we imagine we could zoom in closer and closer, there are actually smaller fields within that one big field. So there's a field unique to this planet. There's a field unique to our species. We each have a family field unique to our genetic line. We each have our own individual field, so one that is unique to us. So it's a bit like Russian dolls or a fractal. It's fractals inside of a fractal, just gets bigger and bigger. So your individual superconscious is like a drop in the ocean that is the source field. It's you're a part of the all, a single stream of source consciousness. So we are each of the whole field, but not the whole entire field. Just as one drop is not the entire ocean, but it has all the potential that the ocean has within it. It's the same with our superconscious. So this is actually our original level of consciousness, right? It's what we were before we even developed a subconscious mind and later a self-conscious mind. And we will remain superconscious after we die because this field is eternal. Now, it's the origin of all the instructions that make us who we are in this reality. Okay? So to recap, your self-conscious has thoughts and wants to have the best life possible. Your subconscious wants to keep everything the same. So these two levels of mind are therefore in conflict. They're fighting each other. And then there is the superconscious, the field of information that doesn't really care. It just is. So when we connect to this field and we ask to alter the codes, the instructions that we are running in our consciousness, it will happily change. And the superconscious code affects all other levels of mind. Okay, the subconscious essentially obeys it. Okay, it will adjust to the new code, and that new code will change what's available to your self-conscious mind. Okay, the code running in your superconscious determines what is available to you in life. Now, let's put this another way. Okay, imagine what you're wanting to create is at the end of a river. Let's call it the river of desire. So you're at the top in the current reality. You're in the current of the river. And for some reason, you can't seem to move towards what you want. Okay, there are thoughts and feelings in the way. So you can't reach that relationship, or you never get to that health or that abundance or that happiness you desire, because there's a bunch of stuff in the way. Like there are rocks and logs and jams, and there's a whole dam stopping the flow of water. So as much as you try to go down that stream, you can't. There are blocks. And where have these blocks come from? Well, they were put there by you and by your family, your ancestors, and passed down through the family field. So they were put there to stop you from going to places that are perceived as unsafe based on past memories, past events, past learnings. And it's the subconscious trying to keep the body alive. So it puts things in the way so that you can't go there and take a risk, create something new. Now, what's interesting is that the superconscious, which was there before you because it's connected through the family line, it knows exactly how those blocks were placed there. It knows how that dam was created. It has the code. It's the source code of you. So when we connect back into it, we can shift that coding. And when we shift the coding, this allows new feelings and new thoughts to flow, which allows different actions. And so that current of the river can flow all the way down to what you want. The current reality flows to the desired reality. Okay, so we are recoding the instructions that are creating the output that is you. So your superconscious remembers all that resistance and is able to remove it. Okay, just take the boulder out, disintegrate the logs, dismantle the dam, just letting go of all of that resistance that's stopping you from going where you want to go in life. So that's what I'm going to be doing with you. Okay, harnessing your innate power to shift all levels of your consciousness, using powerful processes like the superconscious recode and my rapid consciousness transformation method. So this is life-changing in the most literal sense. So when you work with me, our focus will not be on problems. No, that's the old structure that never creates what you truly want. Our focus is on creation, being in the new structure and helping you create your dream life. Now, of course, all those problems simply don't exist, cannot exist in that dream life. So yes, they're going to disappear, but we're not falling into the trap of problem solving, because as we've been over, that will never allow you to truly reach what you want. So we're going to discover what's true for you, your heart's desires. Then I'm going to help you put that intent into the field so that within the field of all information, we're going to say, superconscious, I choose to create this. Then we allow ourselves to feel it. Okay, we bring this down into the domain of the subconscious, the body, the feelings. We choose it, we feel it. And as soon as we say, that is what I want, and now I'm feeling it, the subconscious is going to throw all the resistance up at us to try and stop us. Okay, like, you can't have that. And this is why. Okay, so you're going to feel all sorts of feelings. This is good. This is uncovering the truth of what was already there beneath the surface so that we can actually access it to then treat it. So after we unpack what's there, I'll then ask permission to connect to your superconscious and use gentle commands to remove all of that resistance so that none remains and you're not stopping yourself from having it. And once you're able to experience or have any experience that you want, then you can just go for it, taking aligned action, just making things happen, which becomes easy when you are in the correct creative structure. And easy when you follow the 5-step process that I'm going to teach you and take you through. And when you align to the truth of who you are, the powerful creator of your reality, truly magic happens. So now you understand the very basics. There's much more, but now you're ready to move on to the next sessions. So thank you for being here. I'm so grateful to have you joining me in this work. So much love to you, and I'll see you in the next session. Bye-bye.